Welcome to Academy of Tone 250. Well, today is a very special number, 250, and we have a very special topic. One of the greatest, I believe, instrumental guitar players of our generation, Andy Timmons. I had the pleasure to meet Andy at the NAMM Show, and after NAMM I just found out that he released a new solo record called Recovery, and this album I have done an extra interview with Andy after I returned here to Germany while he was in Italy touring. I guess currently he's back home in the States, and then he's off for another leg of a tour, so to speak, in Japan. So if you watch from Japan, go and get the tickets. Italy, unfortunately, is already a thing of the past, but I think it's definitely a great topic to talk about, Andy Timmons. First of all, I always liked his music, I always liked his style, and we kind of go back very long. I don't know where we exactly met, Frankfurt or Italy, some of those trade shows where we both did our performances, and I know that I checked him out and he checked me out. So this was a starting point, and ever since we always had a little chat, and today you will have some more intense conversation of Andy and myself about a lot of things. But before we dive into the Andy Timmons section, I have to mention a few things. Well, first of all, I have a gig coming up this Friday in Mannheim. Okay, these days everybody talks about Mannheim because of that disaster. Some idiot was driving a car and killed some people, which is total nonsense. And, you know, one of those things bad. We play in Mannheim in the Siebener Club, 7th club, which is a pretty rock place, and all I can say, this place is safe. Nobody gets there, and if somebody gets there, which is not a nice guy, there are enough rockers, real rockers. They will take care of unpleasant people. So yeah, I hope to see you there, which is this Friday. Next Friday I play in Saarbrücken, my hometown, for the local guys. I know a few are watching, in Belle Etage, which is the venue I used to do a lot of the Sylvester, what is this thing in English? The concerts for the New Year's Eve. I've done this for maybe almost 10 years. And so I play this place next week, Friday. Okay, then there's one of those guys who created tone. Mark Sampson passed away. He was at NAMM, and just like last week he passed away. He was behind the Matchless amps, and then he kind of rejoined or joined Bad Cat, he has a background dealing with Vox amplifiers or British amplifiers, and he became like a Vox style expert, and his DC30 and some other great amps that he voiced, designed. I like to talk about this kind of people because they still create tones. In our current world, we have a lot of, you know, modeling or even capturing devices, and they need good sounds, and those good sounds have to come from somewhere. Sometimes it's the vintage gear, like everything that I have behind me, or some modern amps, and you know, there's fewer and fewer people doing this kind of sound design at the highest level. So another one unfortunately gone. Okay, maybe we start with what was the end of the interview at our NAMM Show booth, where you know, we were kind of, we had a hang, and Andy started to play, and I grabbed the guitar, and you know, we had some fun. This was nothing planned. It was just something. But you can watch the two of us having a bit fun with, by the way, two Stratocasters. One was exactly this one, and this was the one that Andy was playing, and the other one was a vintage signature that I played, which was kind of just next door. Enjoy that little clip. Yeah, Andy Timmons at the BluGuitar booth playing my Strat, and he still sounds like Andy Timmons because the tone is in the fingers and it's our, you know, it's in the head, it comes from us. Yeah, I actually have his signature guitar here with me now, and try to investigate a little bit what that Andy Timmons tone or thing is. And this guitar, the Ibanez AT1000 that is, has a mahogany neck, and his signature set with a humbucker and a bridge, and actually two humbuckers, in single coil format for middle position and neck position. He also likes to have a treble bleed, which is that capacitor that you can put on your volume control that keeps the high end nice and shining when you are on lower volume settings. By the way, I do basically the same thing, just coming from the other end. I'm a single coil kind of guy that also has a treble bleed, and I kind of like the idea of beefing up my single coils with the amp. And this is what you could hear Andy playing, was actually the AmpX prototype that we had at the show, and using a single coil guitar. So that's one option how to get to something that works for Andy. You know, you can always dial in the amp a little bit, or there's many options how to get your tone, and he does actually know. Hey, Lucas Fowler is in the chat. I'm so happy to see you here, Lucas Fowler. Hey man, I have checked out all your posts for where you were so sick, man. I feel so happy to see you back alive. Thank you, whoever helped you, and I know that Lucas is also a big Any Timmons fan. So nice to see you. Good. Back to the Any Timmons guitar. Basically, it's a Strat. We can see the shape, and you know, the knobs. It's a very authentic thing. It's using a Wilkinson bridge. The way it's set up, it's connected to to the body. I have mine free floating. This one is, I mean, it stays in tune pretty well. So the whammy bar works, but it's not free floating, which is not my thing. But anyway, I thought about what is the ingredients of Any Timmons tone. Well, it's that kind of guitar, even though he liked my guitar also a lot. And it is the Halo Echo, but we dive into this little bit later. And it is a certain style of overdrive. I tried to get one of his signature pedals. There are a few from like JHS. I think it's called the AT Plus. And then, since I couldn't get one locally, maybe I was a little late. I was looking at the internet and getting the schematics, and that is actually tells me also what the pedal is doing, and it's not that complicated. This is the pedal where you can switch different style of clipping diodes. So these are LEDs, and the other one probably germanium. I don't see the number, but the whole circuitry is super straightforward. Yeah. Where's the input? It's always so hard on the back. So this must be the input, and then there's the first op amp with the drive. So I don't see anything really clipping here. Well, and then we have some gain here, and that second stage is probably one of the clipping stages, and then simply by putting those to the ground with a switch, you can decide if you have none or if you have the LEDs or the other diodes. And then there is a simple EQ and a simple volume, too. Well, there's a volume and the air. That's kind of interesting. But one capacitor and one potentiometer, straightforward and symmetrical clipping, because you can see one direction, other direction. my fingers up and down. So one direction, other direction, totally symmetrical clipping. Which means it is not a super dirty tone. It is more a nice controlled overdrive in a way. So I try to get a sound that reminds me a little bit of what I heard when Andy is playing with the AMP1. So one thing he likes is to have the volume on the guitar low and yeah, so that tone is works in two ways. I mean, with the volume all the way up, it's a nice overdrive tone, and with the volume down and the treble bleeds, you have that kind of cleanish, on the edge of breakup tone. I mean, it's a thing that I personally do myself a lot too. And for those guys who use AMP1s and maybe have that kind of guitar, my settings, it's the classic channel today, and I put the gain on 6, I put the bass on 7, I put the middle on 6, and the treble a little low on 3 only. And as effects, I have the built-in reverb, which is that kind, and I have the halo. So that's the reverb, and that is that famous new Keeley pedal that Andy Timmons helped to design. And I guess there's also a long story about that, but I am familiar with tape echoes, as we can see, and there's also a button that is called Hallo. It is double L, H, Hallo, Hallo. Lucas can show it to us, yeah. Yeah, and if we are looking at such a tape echo from the past, this is a Vox, something that Hank Marvin of the Shadows, the instrumental king of the 60s, stuff like that. He was using several different tape echoes. And such a tape echo is maybe the inspiration also for the pedal that Andy designed with Robert Keeley. There's a story that I heard, which is David Gilmour is using two delays at the same time. One is like the dotted eighths and the other one is whatever straight. It's that kind of rhythmic pattern, which we kind of know also from our tape delays. The thing is not really new, but it's magic. And let me explain why. I simply go to the clean channel. So, and I put the effects on serial, so I have like maximum output of the delay. So there is this super loud halo delay now. I go and switch back from serial to parallel, which means I have 50% dry signal coming from the amp, because it's like dry is not even touched, and so I mix that delay on top of the dry signal of the amp. Of course, makes the effect level less. And yeah, let's go back for some overdrive and use the treble bleed. Okay, I totally get this sound recipe because I do similar things with like my overdrive, the treble bleed, and my beloved tube replex. Okay. I guess these are the main ingredients. And yeah, from what I heard, he started the whole thing with a bluesdriver. This is a cheap Chinese copy by Hotone or Hot Tone or whatever. I just got that pedal because it's so small. And let me show you what happens there. I put it in the front of the clean channel. So this is all the way up on the guitar. Amp 1 on clean. And then yeah, this is not exactly what Andy was using. I mean, he had modified pedals. We are talking blues drivers. But anyway, just to give you an idea where, you know, there's a starting point and how to create such a Andy Timmons tone. Okay, you know what? Maybe check out our NAMM Show interview. I don't remember what we talked about, but it was nice, interesting. Check it out. Andy Timmons at NAMM 2025.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen,
Hey.
it's such a big pleasure to be here with legendary Andy Timmons.
I'm here with legendary Thomas Blug. I'm excited to. We go way back because we first met in Frankfurt.
Yeah.
And I was
Last century?
It was last century, decades ago. We can say that.
Yeah.
And it must have been about '96 or '97.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're in a large convention, there's so much noise, and it's a lot of music happening at the same time, or lots of notes. But every now and then there's this oasis of sound you might hear, and that was Thomas for me. I heard this tone, and it was. And it's my brother, where is he? You know, no, but I was drawn to the tone, then we got to meet, and wonderful guy. It's great to see you do so many great things in the guitar world.
Thank you.
Well-deserved success. And this is a beautiful guitar, man.
Yeah. For me, the thing is, I mean, you have been the most tasteful player of that, let's call it the shredder generation.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what I was trying to rise to the level of. I never got great at shred, but it was fun.
Honestly, man, I was listening to some of your songs, and the other day in my live stream, people said, "Can you do an Andy Timmons thing?" So I grabbed a backing track from the internet in D minor, one of your ballads. From
Cry for You.
Yeah. And I listened to your playing, like, man, chops,
all right,
chops like crazy. Yeah.
You know, if it was a studio version, you know what the tone was? It was a Zoom.
Oh,
that was a demo. That was the demo, and I just went with it.
The tone is here and the hit is here.
It is.
And you always had that.
Thank you.
I have a tone question.
Yeah.
I mean, you seem to be a guy that also uses the volume control a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
And I heard that you use the bluesdriver, you used to. What is the secret?
Okay, so that's a very good question, and that's a lot of when you hear my neck pickup kind of clean.
Yeah.
It's not quite that high gain, but it's the bluesdriver circuit, and the first one that I ever tried was Robert Keeley modded bluesdriver.
Yeah.
And my friend loaned it to me, and I instantly recognized that. Well, that's my clean sound. It wasn't for the crunchy. But
it was for the
you know, there'd be lots of these ballads with just very simple notes ringing together.
Yeah.
But you would never guess it was.
Yeah.
So, but part of that is I always have the treble bleed kind of mod, whatever that is on the master volume.
Right.
So when I clean it up, it's retaining the top end.
Yeah.
And it works for me, you know.
So the thing about the treble bleed and the bluesdriver is the magic combination, right?
Well, for me, that's how I've been able to achieve the tones. And well, now, so you know what? I designed a dual echo with Robert Keeley called the Halo.
I know. I'm a big fan of that.
Okay, it's the sound we've all been that we love. It's a bit of tape echo. It sounds like the Memory Man.
Yeah.
And it turns into kind of a reverb. It's that space we love to play it, but it doesn't get too in the way. Yeah. So after working with Robert on the Halo, we took about a year and a half. But then I've got some ideas about the bluesdriver circuit. Yeah. And so what we did was it was a process of cleaning up the low end. It was a really kind of woofy sound. I could play beautiful chord melodies, but when I played single notes, it was too flubby. We're on to our third iteration of that circuit. It's called the Mark III driver, but it's available now. Okay. And to me, it's the best iteration of that tone that I was drawn to. Right. But there's one of the secrets that how we did it was he introduced a germanium
transistor.
Yeah, exactly. The germanium diode instead of the silicon.
Diode for the clipping.
For the clipping. So it's a different harmonic and it's less compressed. Yeah. And that cleaned up the low end. So, but you can have silicon or germanium. Yeah. You can switch it. So I used two different modes. I have 3 Mark III drivers on my board. Okay. One day we'll get them all MIDI'd or something. But who knows?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's a thing that I also enjoyed so much in your expressive playing, using those notes that clean and then you scream.
Yeah.
I do similar things.
No, I know, and I know that's why when I heard you play, I heard that whole range of things that I love to hear and I aspire to do. Yeah. But that's because the guitar is capable of so much. Absolutely. If all you do is volume on and you're
10 is shredding,
and then you can get still plenty of dynamic with that sound, but you just increase the options infinitely of what you can do
just with that volume control.
Just with the volume control, and it's a pretty underdeveloped technique with a lot of players. Right. You really should explore all the textures you can get, throughout each stage of gain and with each articulation, each dynamic.
Yeah. And talking about guitars, I mean, you are an Ibanez guy for ages.
Well, for 31 years. Yeah.
After George Benson, or one of the very early guys.
For sure. Well, Steve and Joe and Paul, of course, we're all original rock guys for sure. But it's been a great relationship, and of course the guitar you always see me with that AT1000. Yeah. It's steeped in vintage. Yeah. But it's modernized a bit so I can get away with a bit more. Because I love the traditional Strat design, and this is a beautiful version of that, man. It really is great. And I have old Strats that I love so much. But that one guitar is just a little bit more versatile. I can get a bit more out of it.
And I think that's a personal thing to get a concept, and you as a guy has the vision for the next level in tone and playing and everything. And this is what's driving you towards.
But it never ends, does it? It never ends. Everybody they'll compliment my tone or whatever. And in my head, I'm going, it's like. But if you can enjoy the journey, not get bogged down too much, still make music. I'm still having a better time now than ever. Just really enjoying and trying to play better.
Of course, you have to keep the balance of playing. Never forget to play. Playing comes first.
It does.
And then, eventually diving into the rabbit hole of sound a little bit.
We have to. Yeah, it's important.
And then go back on stage and think, this was an improvement, and enjoy that.
Oh, and that's going to inspire you and bring so much out. But also, do you ever get the feeling like when you're somewhere and it's somebody or you realize this is a really great player? Yeah. God, I wish the sound was better. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's not to throw shade at anybody or any direction. But sometimes,
you want to enjoy the artist.
Yeah.
It's like if the sound guy does a bad mix, or if he has the wrong amp, or if he. Sometimes I feel very bad because I know this guy's playing whatever the wrong setting or the wrong amp.
Yeah.
If he knew,
we can. And it's not like we're trying to fix people, but even I was at a show very recently, and it was a cavalcade of incredible musicians, but it was a digital console. Yeah. It's already, if you're not getting the stage tone and you're getting it through the digital PA, it was obviously suffering. And I'm sure it was very expensive, but I'm an analog guy as much as I can be, Yeah. But sometimes,
I'm totally on the same page because I made the same experience. When I play digital stuff, I can feel the limitation.
Yeah, you go exactly. Yeah.
In the expression, and this makes me actually a worse player.
Well, for sure.
I mean,
yeah.
I can still
it's limited. It's limited you.
Yeah. I have to work the tone.
Yeah.
But I enjoy to get the connection to the tone.
Oh, for sure, and it's possible. There's great potential with digital. I'm not throwing shade in that direction, but the experience that we would have after playing all these years, you learn how to get the best that you can out of it, because that's our goal. We're going to make this work. We're going to make this the best it can be, and that's where it starts here. It's what we want to hear, and then and the years of application of having to draw it out of every situation, be it sitting in on somebody else's gear or having to go direct because of the sound, you know. I work with Olivia Newton-John for a lot of years, and sometimes we would do gigs with orchestras. I might have to use in-ears, but there was even one tour where I used a Pod XT. Yeah. My fingers were hurt after the gig, and I was realizing because I'm trying to pull tone.
Yeah, and there's nothing there.
There's nothing
you dig in harder, and you dig in harder.
Try to beat it out of it, you know. It just didn't happen. That was in olden days. I'm sure Pods are better now, if there's still a Pod. I don't know. But anyway, these are struggles.
Yeah, and then I have another thing that Jennifer Batten played with you in Unijon Road a couple of years ago.
Okay, yeah.
Where basically you were the only guy having your Mesa Boogie Tube amp on stage, and then all the other guys were using my little amp.
Yeah, no, but it was, I mean, Jennifer's a freaking genius, man. She is so great. And she's a great ambassador.
I have to thank Jennifer so much.
Yeah.
But it came naturally. She was visiting me at my home in Germany. Okay. She was playing a venue where I was playing the week before on the French border I live.
Okay.
And the French guy said, I know him. Gave her the phone, and she said, this is Jennifer. I said, hey, you have an off day? Can you come?
Oh, that's great.
And then she bought my first prototype. You know?
Hey, Mike, I'm sorry, my coffees are here. Please.
Yeah. We need more coffee.
Indeed.
And we have to get you over to the Guitar Summit in Germany.
Hopefully this year is the year. Yeah, I know there's been talk about it with Ibanez, so I'm hoping to come to get
Ibanez guys. We need Andy.
Germany, bring me on. There's Trev Wilkinson. We're doing an interview, but this Trev, say hi.
I'm just going to comment.
It's NAMM. NAMM Interruptus. Good to see you, Trev. I'll come find you.
Yes.
I'll come find you.
Are you using any of Trev's hardware?
Yeah, his bridge has been on my guitar for 31 years.
Okay, see, this is one of his guitar bridges that I forced him to do. It's called the Year One bridge, which is kind of a replica of the 61 Strat that I have, and I had the shallow holes here, you know, where the ball ends are very close to the surface. Yeah. So I have more mass in the block.
Okay.
And,
nice.
You know, it's all about
Yes.
And then you do. When was it? I mean, you're going the Queen. Rabbit hole, going the Beatles rabbit hole.
Always. That's our foundation, man. The Beatles, of course, from day one. But then Brian May and Queen. When that movie came out, Bohemian Rhapsody, it was my wife and I's wedding anniversary, and I was going to Germany the next day for a clinic tour, and so I was messing. You know how I do the Beatle, whatever interpretations. So I was messing with Queen songs because I just saw the movie, and I played a little bit of Bohemian Rhapsody. But I thought that's too hard. I can't do that. And I left. I left for Germany. But I was talking about Brian May and all my clinics. I'd play with a coin.
Yeah.
And then I was on the phone with my wife that week. We talked twice a day. She goes, and she never comments about my music or what I'm working on. She says, I can't wait to hear what you do with Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh wow! This was a challenge.
Oh shit! I got to play it. It took a few months to figure out how to really do that.
I can imagine.
But it was a lovely challenge. Yeah.
So good.
So good. And I did play it with a 1947 sixpence, because that's Brian.
It's crucial.
It is, and it has to be 1950 or before because the metal changed.
Wow.
Brian May is born in 1947, and so he uses one from his birth year, and it makes a difference, and it sounds great. But I tried to use it in a concert. We played at NAMM one year playing Bohemian Rhapsody with my band, and it kept slipping. I couldn't. My fingers get a bit sweaty, you know. So I had. Anyway, now I use my usual, my Tortex.
I mean, so simple and so tasty.
You know what? Okay, so I always
know what I mean?
I always thought it was very simple until I started seeing other people try to play it.
Okay. Well, I
There's
never,
let me show you because
okay.
what I considered, I always thought it was very simple too.
Yeah.
But what got lost?
This cable this way.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's live TV.
Yeah.
But there's all the detail.
Yeah, very low.
Already,
Yeah.
what's happened? There's this dynamic thing.
Yeah.
That, it's not gonna. So what I didn't realize, I didn't understand the detail that I was putting into things because it was just a natural, simple. But so in the simplest of things, there can be the most detailed nuances that are really not so easy. But that's what I love to point out. It's like these are the important things that sets off a piece of music instead of just making it, just straight up. But I love this guitar. Now you.
This is your thing. So,
Thank you.
yeah. But what I really enjoy is the sense of melody that you put in your records.
Yeah,
you know,
thank you.
there's a lot of people out there that try to be tasty, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
But sometimes you hear the effort.
Yeah, I can hear the effort.
It should be music, yeah.
No, it's natural, and this is.
Thank
you
you.
have the quality that you say, this is correct. I mean, you put all this in the nuances,
Yeah.
so it still has a higher technical level. But if the melody is right,
Thank
you
man.
stick to it,
Yeah.
and you don't start to overplay it. You don't do that thing, and this is what I consider real taste. So
Thank
you get
you. All right, thank you,
Real
man.
Taste
I
Award.
get a taste medal.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That means a lot, man. Because
Yeah.
I hear that in your playing too, and I
thank you.
have lots of love and respect.
Yeah, but this is, this is, there's people, we all have different characters, we go crazy, we go wild, we go this, but we never play together. I mean,
we have to fix that. Guitar Summit.
Guitar Summit,
coming.
we have to fix that, yeah.
Yes, of course.
But the thing is, in your playing, I can hear your soul.
Oh, wow,
this
thank
is
you.
yeah. And it tells me everything. I can I can re-engineer your notes, not from a guitar player's point of view, but from a metal point of view. That tells me how you deal with things.
Yeah.
Because everything is in everything, and everything is connected.
Yeah.
And even without knowing you deeply, I know you because of your playing.
Wow,
it shines through.
That's the biggest compliment I could receive, and I appreciate that. But I think that's the greatest players that we love.
Yeah.
When you think about Metheny or Wes, or Hendrix or Stern and Larry and all my heroes, Lukather, you hear them. You know, they have mastered their instrument to a degree where there's no separation
of the physical thing and their mind.
It's the extension. It's exactly right. So that's the goal. You know, that's the hope. And on a good day, with the right tone, it's like, all right, here we go. You know, so we got to play all the time, and we got to work on our tone. You know.
Yeah. And it comes together in a way that.
You played 1 million gigs.
Yeah.
That's why you're great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You grew up like I did, playing in clubs, and
sure.
took every gig, you know.
And honestly, I still enjoy doing that.
Yeah, of course.
Because this is the reason why I picked up the guitar.
Yeah.
All the rest, I don't give a shit.
And that gig, at that moment, that's the most important gig. This is the most important gig, because that's all we have. You know, we can't change, and we don't know about tomorrow. So make every gig count. Take it very seriously. Take it, have fun doing it, but don't fuck around. Just like try to get the best tone and do the best for the music that you can. Do your homework
and be yourself in the moment.
That's just it. And somebody was asking me, how do I develop my feel and my. I want to figure out a way to talk about it, because there's things that we've done naturally that sometimes then we have to try to explain. But maybe there's a pathway. But it's just really about the hours. There's a lot to that. to where you're not having to think too much.
Yeah,
You know? That's why I like to memorize music. I don't like to have. Sometimes I've had to read on stage, but you're not connected.
Exactly.
Because your eyes are
somewhere else.
Your brain.
Yeah.
I want to be looking right at the drummer. I want to be looking,
Yeah. And you have to be in the music with your focus and things. And when you have to read, I admire drummers. Sometimes I have sub drummers. They come and they have one eye looking at me and the other eye looking at the music.
But it is a talent. It's a talent.
So I couldn't do that.
But when it comes to real expression and trying to, when you're having to learn 40 tunes, for next Tuesday, sometimes it's tough, man. But
hey Andy, such a big pleasure.
Thank you, likewise.
I hope we get you to the guitar.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'll buy my own ticket if I have to.
I buy it for you.
All right. You heard him.
Okay. And you're always invited to my place because it's not that far from Mannheim where the...
It's going to be like midnight next week. It's good. Knock on the door. Remember when you said come over?
No worries. I open the door anytime for you, Andy. Okay. Thanks so much.
Dankeschön, my friend.
Oh.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Yep, so you are all wondering what's going on. I'm live here. This is German time. What is it? 9:30 p.m. Anyway, and this was the interview with Andy was pre-recorded. Well, this was obviously at NAMM at our BluGuitar booth. And as usual, we bumped into each other and we talked a little bit. And I said, hey, Andy, why not do an interview? And what happens is, of course, you put yourself there and there's some people walking by and they don't get that we are doing an interview, and then they interrupt and then you look for them and say, whatever. So this is how the setting works. And in the chat, I saw a few comments. One of them was great. What was the guy? I'm 60, true Scotsman. I'm 60, live in an old trailer in the woods filled with the best gear. I have AMP1. I play all day, every day. Well, playing all day, every day is not a problem. I just wonder where you get the power from if you live in the woods. Well, the good thing about AMP1, you can have a solar panel because this AMP1 has 14 watts only, 14 watts when you plug it in of power consumption. I mean, this is 14 watts, it's a bright light. And that's all it takes, unless you crank it. The louder you get in the woods, the more power, the more current you draw. And then, of course, it delivers 100 watts and the maximum power consumption of AMP1 is rated 150. But this is like, the forest will not survive you. Okay, and then, sorry, the model of this is the Ibanez AT1000 BK. I guess it's black for BK. But everybody knows that's one of the Andy Timmons signature models. I mean, he always raves about his maple neck prototype that he has from the early days. That seems to be his main. And of course, as he played that guitar for so many years, it's like my 61 wears it. It's like, yeah, you have one favorite guitar for some reason, and sometimes it's just because you played it so much. Then I was seeing the question if you guys get the one control in the US. It is produced now, it's on the way, so you will see that in the US in the nearby future. I hope 6 to 8 weeks, but it's the whole process is ongoing and we will have stock. So this is will be available. And for the guys who don't know what it's doing, this gives you extra functionality. For the AMP1, there's an extra gain, so you can change the gain structure for each channel. You have a master volume, you have a power saw control, and these controls are for parameters which are already in the AMP1, but you have no access, no knobs for it. So this is kind of the expansion little pedal that gives you more options. And yeah, check it out if you have one of these. One control. And then the next question, what's up with the AmpX in the video? Well, this was Andy playing the the AmpX prototype that we had at NAMM, which is the latest version. And as we all can hear, it sounds pretty good, but it's still not finished. We are still working on it, and it's revolutionary, and one day it will be finished. Then there's a question about Hayachi or a very foreign name to my understanding. What is the cabinet you are using NAMM Show with Anydy Timmons? It's a BluGuitar. I think we used the twin cab. The reason for using the twin cab was because it had the right height. It's a 2x12 twin, and I had it like vertical, and then it was just the perfect height for people to look at the amp. And this was the cabinet that you heard over the cheap, lousy microphone we had. So there was no extra audio channel or anything. This was just a quick and dirty interview with Anydy Timmons. Okay, and now we have to talk about Andy's latest release, Recovery. And I believe it's a very personal record that he has released. I simply love it. It's great music. It sounds very organic. It's Anydy Timmons at his best. It has all the elements. I mean, we heard one of the tracks, which was the Love and Hate track, which is a bit flashy, but there are so many great songs and melodies on this album. Just buy it, check it out. You will not regret it. It's a great guitar instrumental album, with one exception, a song that Andy is actually singing, which makes it even more personal, especially for me, because if somebody dares to sing, there's a meaning. And I can tell you, when we listen to the next interview that I have done with Andy about this record, I could feel that this album was very special for him. And I know exactly how it feels when you make music and when you get a little personal about it. It is why we all love music. It touches us. And so does the album. Yeah. Check out the second part of the interview, which I have done with Andy while he was in Italy on tour from his hotel room, whenever there was a slightly, a little spot in his itinerary, being so busy doing clinics and concerts and traveling every day. And I'm lucky that we found the time to talk about his latest album, Recovery. So guys, enjoy the rest of this episode with Anydy Timmons, and I hope to see you all back next week, same place, with a new surprise topic, of course. Cheers. Enjoy Anydy Timmons, Recovery. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Anydy Timmons.
Wie geht's, mein Freund? Hello, nice to see you.
Danke, es geht mir sehr gut.
Alles klar, alles klar.
Alles klar. Me from Germany, and Andy is coming straight from Italy.
Ich bin hier in Italia, having my espresso.
Okay. Ich bin here in Germany. I'm drinking English tea. That's
nice.
a very awkward thing for Germans, but the UK guys, they have Tetley's tea bags, or
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
you know, and I kind of
yeah.
liked it, and I'm still with the tea.
Sure, sure. I like a good tea.
Yeah,
Yeah, Simon Phillips, my time with Simon, he was always having proper English breakfast
English.
tea.
Yeah,
But he also likes a nice cappuccino. He makes a good cappuccino as well.
yeah, sure. Hey, so you are currently, well, this is after NAMM, obviously now, and
Yeah.
you are currently on tour in Italy, and you have a
Yeah,
pretty packed schedule. I've seen that your schedule.
you saw, yeah. Today's been the most relaxed day that we've had so
Okay.
far. So it's basically, a little over 2 weeks of tour, and every day we had gigs except yesterday, but that was like an 8-hour van ride, from the
Oh,
north to the south. We're in Bari today, so we're in southern Italy. So we
yeah,
go from Bari to Naples, and then end up in Rome on the last day.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's been
And
good. It's
and
been fun to get out and travel with the band. We haven't toured in a while, so this has been really great.
yeah, I saw a few snippets on well, on the internet, and I have to admit, man, you are Mr. Tone, and I
Oh,
mean, your no choice, your no choice
thank
is what's making you so special. It's like
thank you.
you hit the right notes with the
Uh,
right meaning.
Thank you, thank you. Well, you know how I feel about you. You've been Mr. Tone for me for many years. When I first met you back in Frankfurt all those years ago.
Sure,
Yeah,
and the
always great tone, always great note choice. So I
good
appreciate
good
your
news
compliments.
good news
Yay!
is I
I've
got
got
your
one too.
guitar, and
Very cool, man.
I've been in contact with Daniel Gedke from Ibanez
Yeah,
Germany, and
yeah,
we
Dr.
talked
Dan.
about to get you over to Guitar Summit this year.
Yes, yes. I hope we can do that, man. I've been hearing about Guitar Summit, so hopefully this next year.
I talked to everybody. I talked to him, and I also talked to the Guitar Summit guys who,
Okay.
I got my German connection, and I'm doing my very
Sure.
best to get you over. I'm
Right.
so excited.
Yes, so tell me when does that happen?
It's September. I think it's end of September. I can give you the exact
That would be
dates
great.
because here we are, September in 26th till 28th of September.
Okay, yeah, right now that's a good time period. So
Good.
Guitar Fest, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Yep.
Guitar
And
Summit, sorry.
yeah, yeah. So last time we met, you didn't mention that you had a new album coming out, and then just by
Yeah,
surprise, it hit me, and I thought, wow, what's going on
yeah,
here? The new
yeah,
album, Recovery. So um, the first question I have about the title, what do
yeah.
you have to recover from? Or is
That's
this
a
too?
great. It's a great question because it in my life it refers to a lot of things. I think we're all in a constant state of recovery. It's just kind of life in general. I've been through issues with different substances in my life, just pharmaceutical addictions, but also just I had cancer at one time in my life. I've
Oh, fuck,
been
yeah.
through a lot of different health issues, but it also really speaks to a bit of just being a sensitive person.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm deeply affected by people's energies and different types of things that happen to me. So maybe I feel things a little more deeply than maybe a normal person. So I'm sometimes just kind of in recovery from simple things. It does.
Yeah.
But it's the act of recovery is something returning to a more natural state, and hoping that I get that through music. Music helps
Right.
me become centered, become healed in a lot of ways, and it's always been there in my life since my earliest memories. Music has always been how I recover, how I have that safe place to feel what I need to feel, and eventually through being a musician, being able to find ways of expressing that when maybe I couldn't express it verbally.
Yeah.
It could come through the music. It could be that outlet. And
Yeah.
even more so to this day, the more intimate I become with the instrument, the more helpful it is to express these things that there's no language for, there's no
But I
way
can
to
hear
express.
it.
I can hear it in the notes that you are playing.
Oh,
You
thank
know what
you.
I mean? I mean, there's these standard notes and there are these special notes, and I know, when it's that longing or haunting, or it's the feeling of very personal you.
Yeah.
And these notes, I think I have a similar approach, just by nature. I've been through
Sure.
similar things without you knowing my shit. But my shit is also, I've been at a phase where I thought, hey guy, what am I doing with my life? What is this all about? I'm going on a stage, make a fool of myself. I'm not home. What is it? I had
Yeah.
a super big question mark once in my life. And then,
That's but it's normal. We all go through that. It's
yeah.
it's human nature, I think.
And I think it's good to do that. Finally, I found an answer for myself, because this was actually in front of a concert, and I had some time to kill. I was outside. I was not going to the venue because I was reading psychology books and whatnot. So
Okay. Okay.
I went there, and there was this world, this, hey, Thomas, and blah, and we know all that side of the world as well.
Sure.
Everybody is full of energy and positive energy, and
Yeah.
so you think like, hey, wait a minute, man, is this what I really want? And I don't know. Then I started to play, and during the second song, being
Yeah.
on stage, my inner feeling told me, this must be right. It's so good.
Yeah.
Music is so
Yeah.
good. Uh,
It is. It is. Yeah.
don't overdo it, but
Yeah.
it felt so right. And that's why I still do what I do.
And we're very glad you're still doing it. Yeah, absolutely. But it's
Yeah,
it's it is it's
same
a
with you.
struggle. So, I mean, we all have our feelings and emotions can shift and can change. But yeah, the music has always been there for me, and I think that
Yeah,
anybody watching us right now has the
yeah,
same feeling. And we're very fortunate to have this in our lives, to be able to have that, for the expression, and for how we identify, and what means
sure.
something, and we're passing it on to other people, which is a beautiful
Yeah.
gift.
And for me, some people in the audience, some fans need to share that feeling, because they probably have similar
Yeah,
experiences or feelings, and they
no
can't
doubt.
play the instrument. And when they come,
Yeah,
for them, it's like going like to church.
it is. Yeah, yeah,
It's a spiritual experience, and
yep.
that's the thing about you playing the guitar the way you do.
Mm.
It's spiritual.
Uh,
We're talking about, sometimes people talk about shredding, and of course you are
yeah.
fast, and there's always somebody faster. But the spiritual moments that you can create with the notes that you dig in, and that you,
Yeah.
I don't know, form from the fingers into the neck, into the orbit. This is what it is. And
Well, thank you. I mean, it means a lot. It means a lot coming from you. I appreciate that. And I'm trying to express in ways myself, but it's coming from, you know, that have come before me, and that I feel those things from, be it Jeff Beck or Chopin or Pat Metheny, all these different types of musicians or writers that know that were able to express things in a way that did, touch our heart and help us have that spiritual catharsis that certain music can give. So if I'm reaching that for other people, I'm honored by that, and it's a
you
good thing
cert
to aspire. A
you
good thing to
certainly
aspire
do.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you,
You,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I found one vocal track on the album. Sometimes something as good is gonna come. This
Yeah.
is you singing, right?
Yeah, that's me. That's me. So,
Wow.
and that song kind of sums up. It kind of sums up the idea of a lot of the music. Even though
Yeah.
things can get very dark and you can be very down about things, but sometimes that's a good point to be, that you realize, okay, this has to change. And like you said, you get that moment on
Yeah.
stage where
Yeah.
you keep
Something.
going, and of course it gets better. It gets better. So recovery is also a reference to, I've dealt with depression in my life. I've dealt with serious periods of feeling very down and whatnot. And
Yeah.
but I can take heart in knowing that it will get better, you know. And from whatever depth I feel, I'd rather feel something that heavy to know that on the other side is going to be something very uplifting and very bright. And again, that's that music can do both of those things. It can bring you up. It can help you feel the sadder and darker emotions. It really provides so much for us. But
And
yeah, but the lyrics of that song, "Something Good's Gonna Come," is very much about that, you know. Something
and
good.
and also that you personally sing it. It's your voice.
Yeah.
I'm not a singer. I have probably I do a little bit background vocals, but never dare to go into the lead singing zone. And you did, and you did
Yeah,
very well.
well, thank you. I do. I have other singers I might work with, but there's something about whoever wrote the song, you know, delivering it. Even if I'm
And
not the
that's
best technical singer, it's going to be more personal and it's going to be more real. Because in
yeah,
fact, I did record it with another artist,
yeah,
and they sang it fine. But even to me, I was like, God, I think I have to do this. I think I need to do it. You know, just because it's my personal feelings. It's not just a pop song for let's write a pop song. It means something to me. So
and
you know,
I totally got that. I mean, I was listening to
okay.
the whole album, and you know, this was a statement to me, knowing how, I mean, we can always hide a little bit behind the guitar. It's so
Oh
easy,
yeah,
you know, hiding behind shredding and everything. You know, this
yeah,
is, I mean,
yeah,
arpeggios is a mechanical thing. But the
yeah,
moment where you have like your naked soul, and especially singing, man,
yeah.
I'm, you know,
Yeah.
you got me
I mean,
totally with that one.
well, thank you. But I feel the same way about simple guitar playing. You know, I feel that that's very exposed too. You know, by playing the single notes or as you call it, the right notes.
Yeah.
It's not that's maybe the most difficult thing to do on that personal level, even though it's so simple. When I did a couple of master classes along on this tour, and that's usually one of the things I always end up talking about is I can show you a shreddy lick or something and it's fun and it's cool. But what's really going to matter most is when you land on that note, you know,
Yeah.
is it in tune? You know,
Yeah.
how's the vibrato or what
Yeah.
note is it? And what does that
Yeah.
note mean within that context?
Yeah.
Those are the things that I really think set apart, you know, the people that we want to hear over and over, you know, beyond the shred and the entertainment of some of the physical guitar things, which we love, you know. You
Sure.
know,
It belongs to
I
the
wish
electric guitar.
I wish I had more shred to give, you know, but I still work on that stuff. I still like, you know, man, you know, there's always room for growth, but it's really those identifiable moments of the simplicity, which can be very exposing, you know.
Yeah, that's why, by the way, I called my first album, after it was finished, The
Yeah.
Beauty of Simplicity. Because,
Ah, nice,
you know, I
nice.
did my first record, and then I listened to the whole shit, and I thought, what is it? And then I recognized the moments where I didn't do too much, where I had the simple stuff. These were the moments that I loved the most. And then I came up with the title, The
Sure.
Beauty of Simplicity.
That's
And
beautiful. And that's what drew me to your playing because I instantly recognized that you had those elements that I was drawn to. It was a great sound. It was a great vibrato. It was in tune. Everything else, cool. But those, you know, those are the things that, you know,
yeah.
that I'm drawn to, you know.
And talking about playing styles and things, now I have your signature guitar in my hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can I get the concept why you have that signature guitar and why you like it. And there's a
Thank you.
couple of things with a humbucker here. I guess it's like three humbuckers, but the neck
It
pickup
is.
is
So they're single coil kind of sounding, but they are humbucking, you know, but
yeah,
physically.
yeah, yeah.
And in my very first guitar from 30 years ago, the maple neck guitar that I always play, you know,
Right,
that was just a happy accident. I wanted a single coil, and just somebody at Ibanez said, "You should try these cruisers," and I just kept them in there. And they're kind of their own unique sound. If you think about my sound on Electric Gypsy, that's that guitar, and it's these pickups. Those haven't changed. It's just the DiMarzio cruisers. And
yeah,
then eventually we came up with the AT1 humbucker, my custom
right.
humbucker. But in any of the Ibanez's, these are the pickups that I use. You know.
And for me, the there's some magic in the neck pickup because
Yeah. Some overtones. Yeah.
you know that it cleans up nicely. It has a
Yeah.
it is not too bold in a way. It's like it's a little
Yeah.
fragile, and that's the
Yeah.
beauty of it.
There's you can get a lot of dynamic.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does. It cleans up very well. We'd have a treble bleed mod on the master volume of the
yeah,
guitar, which helps retain that top end. But it's not too hot. It's not like a
yeah.
really hot humbucker to where you're going to lose all the delicacy. You can really get a lot of dynamic out of it.
Yeah. On the record, there are a few tracks. There's this one, I don't know exactly the title, where it's the good and the evil, where it starts a little slow and then it goes. Whoop.
Yeah, it's called Love is Greater Than Hate. Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
is greater than hate. Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
think I think my spark died here. Hold on, let's see if it's working. Yeah,
come
I think
on.
it's dead.
We,
Oh
we
well.
can listen
Yeah, but
to the
it
real
gets into
record.
that.
Yeah.
A little bit of rock and roll.
Yeah.
And it was kind of very kind of movie like James Bondish, and
Yeah.
my co-producer
Vibe.
Josh Smith came up with a bunch of cool string lines and stuff that I played some guitar with. Yeah.
Hey, talking about Josh Smith, I mean, first of all, he is a super great guitar player himself too. Um,
Oh gosh. Yeah.
I mean, playing with Bonamassa, and I had the pleasure to meet him. I was visiting him in LA at his studio,
Okay.
like
Oh yeah.
4 years ago. Did you
Yeah.
record in that studio in LA?
Yeah, so he did the last record I released was called Electric Truth, and that came out of me just calling him to tell him, I was digging his playing. We just talked on the phone. He
Yeah,
said, "Man, I just finished my new studio. You should come out and hang out." And I'm
yeah,
like, people say that, "Hey, let's get together," but he's the kind of personality where it's real, And I thought
it's
this is a
real.
good idea because I knew it would bring a different side of my playing out by collaborating with another guitar player and kind of living in his world. He chose the musicians and we worked on the arrangements together, and it was just so natural that that's why we ended up doing a follow up to that led to. But yeah, so we did all the basic tracks at his studio, and that's Lamar Carter on drums, Travis Carlton
Travis
on bass.
Carlton. Mr.
Yeah.
Carlton is the son of the famous Larry Carlton.
Very much so,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's his own man. Boy, he's a
Of
great
course,
player.
of course, of
And
course.
then Darren Johnson on keyboard. So the new record, we did all the basic tracks in 2 days at Josh's place, and then I went back to my studio. Then over the course of the next months,
Yeah,
recorded all the guitar tracks and got them how
yeah.
I wanted them. Um, but yeah, but Josh is, and obviously I respect him immensely as a player, but he has a really great arrangement ideas. He has a good
Okay.
sense of here's a cool figure that the rhythm section can play in that section that I really appreciated, that kind of input. And to be able to record 11 tracks in 2 days with the band, he's got that communication where, between
Yeah.
all of us, we get the work done. So that's a lot of fun for me to work in the old school way like that.
Yeah. I mean, he is totally old school with his old tape machine and with the recording room and
Yeah, and they play
and,
plate
and
reverb with everything. Yeah,
yeah, the good old school, very organic sound.
that's the idea. And a big part of that too is his engineer Alan Hertz, who he tracked everything at Josh's studio. Then he also mixed it. So he's got a great way of retaining, mixing not in the computer but through nice analog gear. It's obviously
Right.
recorded digital, but
Yeah,
keeping a
yeah.
lot of the analog involved as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you as a songwriter. Sometimes when I come up with ideas, sometimes I have bits and pieces, then I have a complete song. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes it's magic. Everything falls into place. And then there are the songs that I have one part that is probably killer, and I'm
Yeah.
totally stuck. I'm in this
Yeah.
super big rabbit hole, and it's
Yeah.
like, hello. And I
Yeah.
have sometimes it takes me 2 years to find a way out to complete the song. Do
Yeah,
you have
sure.
any of these experiences? Do you have any methods how to get out of the
I
situation when
wish
you're
I
stuck?
did. I think we need to be in a support group together. No, there was a song called "Almost Home."
Yeah,
Was it? I had that riff for 4 or 5 years. I just didn't know what to do with it. I couldn't
yeah,
figure out. I'm still not sure I finished it as good as it could have been. You're right. There's some songs that just come immediately and just kind of
yeah,
present themselves. Here you go. And
yeah.
there's sometimes that you've got this nugget of an idea, and I've got literally, there's 1,400 voice memos on my phone of most of them are song ideas or where I parked my car at the airport.
Same here. It's
Right, so
unbelievable. Yeah,
so it's but the cool thing is that usually when you recognize that an idea really has something special, and then
yeah,
that's when you go, okay. And sometimes there's nice surprises. Like I found this is probably happening to you too. I found an idea today that I don't even remember, coming up with, because sometimes these things are so fleeting. And
yeah,
that's what I always tell, when I'm teaching about songwriting, you must have a recording device, which luckily now with phones we do.
yeah,
But before we used to have the cassette Walkman or whatever,
yeah,
cassette tapes for days, to be able to document when something special arrives, you must document it, because 5 minutes later, you may not remember it the same way. The rhythm might be different, or this note changes. It's like, oh, what was that? How did I do that? So you have to document and then be able to revisit and explore. But the best advice I ever heard, John Lennon said to George Harrison, don't wait. Because George was asking him, maybe it was about he was working on the song something in the way she moves attracts me like a pomegranate. He didn't have the words. Yeah. But John said, you gotta keep on. You just keep on it. Just make sure you get it done. Because sometimes things sit too long, and then by the time you revisit it, you're a different person, and
yeah.
so sometimes it's. I'm only saying that because I need to heed that advice, because I've got so many unfinished ideas. I wish I was completing more of them, but
But hey,
we
this
just
is
keep trying. Yeah,
I tell you, it's the same thing here. And
yeah,
for me,
yeah,
I also have another, my other thing I'm doing is the amp designer things,
yeah.
and having ideas sometimes is a disease. And when you have a company like myself, it's like even worse,
Yes,
because which means when
yeah.
you start a project, you put all your money into that, and then
Oh, yeah,
so you have to be careful. So being proud of having more ideas like a musician can be
yeah,
a disaster for the entrepreneur, because it's like, hey, where's my money? I make this, I make that, and
oh,
But anyway,
yeah.
it's
I know
life is good.
that's a whole different set of problems. But are you ever self-defeating? Do you start to get an idea sometimes, it goes, and does it frighten you? Like, oh, I have to finish this, or maybe it's going to be too much, either as a
Yeah,
business or as an artist.
yeah, sure. I mean, every idea has its own personality, and there are things
Yeah, yeah,
that need to be done. I feel the personal need. I
sure.
have a whole record on my agenda that I tried to do 10 years ago. It has nothing
Wow,
to do with me being instrumental. It's more about, I would say, a groovy Santana dance, but with guitar
great,
music, a,
great.
a poppy, whatever kind of thing. I
Yeah,
already
sure, love it.
so the idea is in my head. I even tried a couple of gigs with a band that I put together, and I actually wrote
Sure.
a couple of songs. The problem is I don't have the energy with my company now to finish that. But as soon as I kind of can have a bit more time to pursue that, I will do that.
Yeah,
And then there's
yeah,
other songs. It's like, okay, this is a song that I need to finish because it needs to get out. And then there are
yeah.
some of the stuff that I know it's good, but yeah,
Is it that good? Who cares? You know?
Sometimes it's hard to know, and for me, that's, that's the beauty of having a band too.
Yeah.
Some ideas come from when we're playing together, or I might have an idea for a thing, bring it to the band. It may take somebody else saying to me, "Hey, that's pretty cool. You need to work on that." Sometimes it's nice to have a bit of a outside encouragement to say, maybe work on that.
And I force myself also by, let's put it in that way, by making projects. Either making an amplifier project, because once you start that thing, you cannot stop it anymore.
There you
And
go.
in the music world, it's the same thing. It's like I booked myself into kind of things, gigs or whatever. Let's do that record, and I said yes. Shit that I didn't say no, but you know what I mean. I did say yes.
Commitment's a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's and it's I think it's another energy source, especially when you are torn between, I have this, I have that, and blah blah blah. Sometimes the German discipline helps too.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Back to the album, I hear like different tones in the way of some of the tones are, the stronger humbucker voiced voicings tone. Then there are some more delicate and fragile stretty tones, very clean
very much so.
tones. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a variety of guitars. So this guitar is on Between Brothers and Love is Greater Than Hate, the aggressive one you were talking about. But there's a lot of vintage Strats too.
Okay.
So Why Must It Be So? That's a 65 Strat. There's a song called Lost in This World, and that's 1960 hardtail. Really, middle position, like second position. Yeah. So, I mean, and that's a project that I'm going to be working on with both DiMarzio and Ibanez. We're trying to come up with, as we've talked about, so a version of my guitar that as vintage as possible, And so maybe we work on that in the future, because I have a couple of, like I say, a couple of nice vintage Strats, but I don't want to travel with them,
Sure.
I would like to have a vintage guitar with the modern things that I need,
Sure.
So
Sure.
it's going to be a lot of fun too. But yeah, sometimes, I mean, those tones, as you've got that beautiful 61 Strat, that.
Which is, wait a minute, where's mine? Here it is.
Where
Wait a
is it?
minute.
Maybe I stole it. I took it home with me.
Here's the real one.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that guitar so much. That's when I first met you. You were playing that guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
this
just
is the copy that I brought to NAMM that you played at NAMM.
okay, which sounds amazing. I played that guitar, and I
Yeah.
love that guitar. You've done such a good job of getting the essence of some of those things that we love
Well,
about the vintage. Yeah.
it's basically my number two, or it's like I try to make a spare guitar for myself. And this is guitar number 47. So yeah.
So have you did you sell the other 46? Those have been purchased by other people that.
Not this one, because that's too good, and not this one, because this is too good either.
It's
And
too good. Okay, so if it's too good, we don't get to buy it. Well, I want to buy one. Even if it's just okay for you, it's probably great for me. So I'll take number 41.
Jennifer Betten bought one. She has number 10. Yeah.
Wow. She's got great taste, and she's one of the best players ever. She's so fantastic. I love Jennifer a lot.
Yeah.
She's amazing. We did a great tour together with Uli John Roth, actually. It was Uli John Roth and Jennifer and I. And she was playing your blue guitar.
Yeah, the AMP1, yeah. And Uli had some of these. I have seen pictures. Yeah. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
when you come to Germany, maybe, my deal is always when I get a new one, which is occasionally I get a new, when 48 is coming in, I can have one let go. And when we are here in Germany, I bring maybe 2, 3 to the booth, and then maybe we can talk.
All right. Sounds
That's
good.
the deal.
Man. Sounds good.
Yeah. Talking gear, so
I mean, you have, of course, the Ibanez, and I have
Yep.
to say, it's this guitar is a great guitar, and
Right.
I mean, I picked it up and I'm instantly home in a way
Good. Good. Good.
because
It's
because the neck shape is right, it
yeah.
plays great, it sounds great, it has the DNA that we need.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. So,
Then
killer.
there's this old guy, you know.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
I've got that filter on because it's a very
It's
plain
okay.
hotel room. But
It looks good. Don't worry. Don't worry.
I'm gonna turn that off. Hold on a second. Virtual backgrounds. And then, there we go. Now I can see it better.
Now I can see your bed.
But
Cool.
this just got refretted. This just got refretted for, we think it's the eighth or ninth time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guitar is 31 years old now, so kind of vintage in a way.
And it's your number one. And I know what it
Always.
is because you always played that guitar, and
Yeah,
that makes it,
yeah,
there's like this extra mileage on that guitar that you played it makes it even more
yeah.
special you.
Well, for sure. And and this became a production guitar eventually for Ibanez. And I've played, people bring their guitars to the gigs. I check them out. And there's some that I think sound better than this, and I even have a couple of the production models. But there's a connection, just,
Because it's
a
the
very
one that you
personal
play the
connection
most.
that
Yeah.
it's you're most confident with. And so I think less about the instrument. But I've been playing the black one live too now. So it's becoming it's just because it's so different sonically because it's mahogany in the rosewood board.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a much more forward rock kind of tone for those songs that need that. I like that.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And amp wise, I mean, I have seen, of course, you are a Mesa guy, the Lone Star,
Right.
and stuff like that. Is there any
Yeah.
other amps on the record, or is there a
Yeah.
special
So
recipe?
there's it's either two Lone Stars together and usually with pedals in front. So my main lead tone, no matter what amps, is my JHS AT.
Of
That's my
course.
main lead sound. But then I've got the Keeley Mark III driver, which I also use for my cleaner sounds. So, and then of course the Halo, the Keeley Halo Echo.
Sure.
That's my always on, my Echo, my stereo system. So I love the Lone Stars for certain things, but I brought back my vintage Marshall. It's a 68 Super Lead, but I've got a Sur amp called the SL68, which is Super Lead 68, and it sounds very close. Really, really great sounding amp. So I use those in stereo, just feeding the front end, running those loud and clean, and hitting those with the pedals. And so, yeah, and John Sur and I are actually working on an amp together. So there could be something like that in the future, We'll see.
Sure.
We'll see yeah, it could be good.
I'm always excited about people that still create their own amps. I mean, there's nothing wrong with profiling and capturing and whatnot,
Oh, no,
but
for
we need
sure. Sure.
but we need the guys that are still doing sound
Yeah,
design, that create tone, you know,
sure, sure. Absolutely.
as amp designers and as players. And I
Yeah,
mean,
sure.
this kind of leads me back to the start with the right notes with the right tone, and
Yeah,
it is it
it is
starts
important.
it starts with you, the musician, but it's the whole signal
Yeah.
path, and when everything is
It,
right and you feel it, then that's the
it
magic.
does. It makes all the difference. But it does start, you're right. It starts with the personal ear, whatever, I believe as an artist or a writer or a composer, an improviser, we're just drawing on the things that we've loved, be it Hendrix or Stevie Ray or Yngwie or Eric
Yeah,
Johnson or Chopin or Bill Evans, what we've taken in sonically that we love, the right note at the right time, those things that have struck us. And so when we're trying to produce our sound and our music, we're trying to live up to those bars, that
yeah,
that we've
yeah.
gotten from those that come before us. We never get there, but
No,
in in the effort, it becomes us. You know, it's just
Exactly.
because of our inabilities, you know, and our shortcomings somehow,
And
you know.
and we always think, man, we are not so good. Maybe we are shit. But other people think Andy Timmons is great and Thomas is great.
But
But I mean,
yeah,
I think we both feel like, yeah, it's
yeah.
okay, but it's not as great as Stevie Ray, and it's not as great as
No,
Mozart, and
and
it's not as
we can never be, but that is kind of really the thing to take away is that we can't be Stevie Ray, but we shouldn't want to be. You know, we want to aspire to the essence and the idea, but we can only be Thomas and Andy.
yeah.
You know, so the only and this took me years, and this took me until I was in my 50s when I started to. I'm not completely there, but being more accepting of being me and being myself. You know, because there's so many people doing, you know, music and guitar on a high level, it's easy to feel less than. It's easy to feel like, oh, I'll never be as good as or whatever. But that can be self-defeating, that can be discouraging, and it can be depressing. So the more we
Sure.
realize is that we just have to take whatever gift that we have and work on it and really pursue it in the best way we can. And you know, again, speaking from the age of 61, you know, I realized that when I'm happiest when I've practiced that day. If I've put some practice time in and I feel like I really worked on something, okay, you know, I feel like, okay, I'm making the effort. And again, I'm not where I want to be, but it's that desire and that drive that keeps pushing you to that hopefully next time people hear you go, yeah, you sound better than last time. I'm like, yes, you know,
Yeah.
I'll keep going, you know. And
Eh,
that's I keep bringing up Jeff Beck, but that's kind of one of his amazing legacies that he left us is that
yeah.
he never he refused to rest on what he had already done.
Yeah.
He kept trying to reinvent himself and trying to push himself. You know, he didn't have anybody going, okay, Jeff, you better do something different. He was driven that way. And that's
Yeah.
really beautiful. You know, I love that that he chose to drive like that. So that's inspiring to all of us, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can just sum it up in the way that Andy, you have done a fantastic new record with so
Thank you.
many great songs that shows all of what we just talked about. I mean, great notes,
Thank you.
the never-ending energy that you put into your playing and into the music and into the compositions. So
Thank you.
hey guys, I can only highly recommend Recovery by Andy Timmons. It's one of those guitar records or music records. I mean, we are all guitar geeks here on this channel, but
For sure.
so it's definitely the album that you have to check out now.
Thank you. Thank you, guys, and thank you, Thomas. I mean, these words mean a lot coming from you, man. You know how I feel about you and your playing. So, vielen
Thanks
Dank.
so much. Gerne, gerne. Okay.